Hey guys, today I'm going to continue with the alphabet series, and so I'm just going to move on to the letter B. I used to really like a lot of boys' names that started with B, and I still kind of do. Girls' names are a little tougher, so I actually had to spend a long time searching to find 10, kind of more unusual but interesting girls' names for you guys. So I'll start with the girls, I guess, and then I'll move on to the boys that I like a little more. The first one, this is my favorite B name for girls, a variant of it is Bridget. And there's two fairly common ways that Bridget can be spelled. Personally, I kind of like the one with the ITTE ending, but at the same time, I think the first one's easier to spell. And Bridget is a Celtic name meaning exalted one. And the first time I heard the name Bridget, when I was a little kid, I heard about all the time my grandma used to have a dog named Bridget when my father was a little boy. So that was the first place I heard it, and I thought it was a really cute name. And my personal favorite variation of it is Brigitte. I really like that. And I like that you could have a lot of different nicknames for it. You could use like Brie, Gigi, Brit, and Brigitte is the Italian-Spanish version of Bridget. The next name I picked is Bernadette, which is of Germanic origin, and it means brave as a bear, which is a kind of cool meaning, a tough meaning. And I first started liking the name Bernadette when I was around 5th grade maybe, and that new Cinderella live-action movie came out with Brandy, and Bernadette Peters was in it. And that was the first time I ever saw her, and I loved her name, Bernadette. And I think it's a really pretty French-sounding name, and some nicknames for it could be Bernie or BB, or you could even use Andy, I think. I think it would work for Bernadette. The next name I picked is Beatrix, and I know Beatrice is getting a little more popular with the older names coming back into style, but I really kind of think Beatrix is really cool. It's a little different and a little less common. It's a Latin name meaning traveler or pilgrim, and it's just a variant of Beatrice. And I really like that you could use the nickname Trixie. I think that's a super cute name. And you could also use just Bea or BB like with Beatrice. The next one is a name that I first heard when I was studying in Spain, and it is Begonia. And the traditional Spanish way is to spell it with the N with the tilde over it, but I think if you were going to use it in an English-speaking country, you should definitely go with the NIA spelling. And Begonia is just the name of a flower, and some nicknames you could use for Begonia. A lot of these you could use BB because they're B starting names. You could also use Nia if you spelled it the NIA way, and I really think that's cute. The next one I picked is another Spanish name, and it's Belén. And Belén means Bethlehem in Spanish, so I think it's a really cool meaning. If you were a Christian, I think it would be a great name if you wanted a name that represented that without being super particular to Christianity. And Belén is just a really pretty sounding name. You could use Belle. You could use Len if you like that. It's kind of cute. Sorry, I didn't mean to have so many Spanish names, but it just worked out that way. The next one I picked is Brisa, and it is the Spanish word for breeze or wind. And I really like Brisa. I've liked it for a long time. I made myself stop picking Spanish names after this one. And you could use Brie or Reese for a nickname, and I think Reese is really cute. The next one is one that I found while I was searching. I had never heard this name before, and it's really cool. It's definitely a little more out there. It's Bihalia, and it's a Native American Choctaw name, and I think Bihalia is really cool, and it has an awesome meaning. It means standing white oaks, which just it brings a really pretty image of a bunch of trees lined up for me. And I love that you could use the nickname Hallie for it. I think that's a super cute nickname. Or you could use Leah or BB. The next name I picked is Beverly, which is an Old English name with a funny meaning. It means beaver meadow, which is really bizarre, but I don't think most people would really be aware of that. And Beverly, I thought it was not popular at all, but I thought it was still used today, and it really isn't. It hasn't been in the top 1,000 since 1999, which surprised me. And it was the most popular in 1937. It was number 14. So it's definitely due for a comeback. I think Beverly is a really cute name, and it kind of, it reminds of like Beverly Hills, and you can use Bev or Lee, and also Ever, Eve, or Eva, and Ever, I've heard a lot of people talking about liking that name lately for boys and for girls. So if you like the nickname Ever, you could totally use it with Beverly. The next girl's name I picked is Brielle. I knew a girl named Brielle in one of my French classes a few years ago, and I thought it was a really beautiful name when I first heard it. It has two different origins. The Celtic meaning is power or force, and the Hebrew meaning is woman of God. So I think it's a cute name. I like that it's a combination of Brie and Elle, and it's actually a diminutive form of the name Gabrielle, which I hadn't thought of. But I like Brielle a lot. I think it's cute. Then the last girl's name I picked is Barlow, and it is an English name, and it means bare hillside, and I think Barlow is kind of cute. And it reminded me of Harlow, which I thought I had been hearing as a name lately, but there was nothing listed for girls' names on the website I was looking at for Harlow, but maybe it's being used as a boy's name, I'm not sure. Either way, I think Barlow's kind of cool and definitely uncommon. Okay, so now I'll move on to the boys' names. The first one is Byron, which is on my personal list, and Byron is an English name, and it means at the cowsheds, which is kind of silly, but I really like the name Byron. You could use like Ron or Ronnie as a nickname for it. I just think it's cool. The next name I picked, I'm going to talk about a group of names, I guess. I really like the name Benedict, but unfortunately Benedict has such a negative association now. As you know, people think of like being a traitor, Benedict Arnold. So, but there are several variations of the name Benedict that are very usable and that I like a lot. The first one is not so usable in English, but if I lived in France, I would totally name my son Benoit. I think it is such a cool name, and I'm very partial to Ben names because my brother's name is Ben, but I think Benoit is really cute, but I don't know that you would want to use it in an English-speaking country. And the meaning of Benedict or Benoit is blessed. And some other variants are Benson, which means son of Benedict, which is really cool, and Bennett, which is another variation. And I really like all of these, and I think that Bennett and Benson are really usable if you like the name Ben. Benjamin has been such a popular name, and these are a little less common ways to call your son Ben if you like that name. The next name is one that I really like a lot, and it is Brahm, and there's a couple different ways you could spell Brahm, and it is a Hebrew name, and it is a variant of Abraham, so it means high father, if you guys remember the song, Father Abraham had many sons. And I think Brahm is really cool. My personal favorite spelling is the Braham because it reminds me of the name Graham, which I think is a really classy, cool sounding name. So I definitely like Brahm, and I think it's really usable. The next one is Bowen, and there's a few different ways to spell this one as well. I personally think I would not use the one with the Y because the Y seems kind of girly to me, but I like the A and the E spelling. It's a Celtic name, and it means small victorious one, and I thought it would be an interesting one because you could use Beau as a nickname, and I know that Beau spelled the French way is kind of a nice name that a lot of people like, and also people are liking Owen lately, it seems. So if you spelt it with the E, it's very similar to Owen, and you could use Beau or Bowie for nicknames. And then the next name I picked is Brock, and for me, Brock always makes me think of Pokemon, but a lot of people don't think of that, and it's becoming a little more common. If you guys watch Shaytards, their youngest son is named Brock, which is why he's called Rocktard, and it's an Old English name meaning badger. If you think that Brock is too short for a name on its own, there are some longer versions, Brockman, Brockton, and the worst one is broccoli. Please don't ever name your son broccoli. I know it's not spelt like the vegetable, but it's just going to make everyone think of broccoli. And while I love broccoli, I wouldn't want to be named broccoli. Okay, The next name I picked is Bryant, and when I was a kid, I knew so many Bryans, and I knew one Bryant, and that kind of set him apart, and Bryant is way less popular than Brian. And Bryant was the most popular around when I was born. It peaked in 1988, and in 1989, the year I was born, it was number 177, while Brian was number 24, so that explains why I knew so many more Bryans. In 2011, Brian is still number 122, but Bryant has gone down to 446. So again, Brian is still way more popular. So if you like Brian but want something that's less common, try out Bryant. And Brian has been in the top 100 from 1947 to 2009, and it's just starting to go down. So Bryant is really cool, similar to Brian. The next name is Bariah, and I really like Aya names. If you guys didn't know, it's a Hebrew name, and it means fugitive, which isn't a great meaning, but Bariah is kind of interesting, although it does kind of remind me of Mariah, like if you just took Mariah and slapped a B on the beginning, but you could use Barry as a nickname for it, or Raya, so I like it. It's not a favorite, but I do think it's interesting, and I like it. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is Belden, which could be spelled with a E or an O ending. And it's a Middle English name, and it means from the small, beautiful place. And I love that meaning. It's really cool. And some nicknames you could use for Belden would be Belle, Beld. Belle kind of sounds girly, but you could use Beld. Or you could take the ending and make a nickname out of it. So if you spelt it with D-O-N, you could use Don. If you spelt it with D-E-N, you could use Den or Denny. So it's a cool name. The next one is Baldwin, which is a similar sounding name, and I think Baldwin is a really cool name. There's a street around here called Baldwin, so that's what made me think of it. And it's a Germanic name, and it means bold or brave friend, which is an awesome meaning. I think meanings with the word friend in them are really cool. And I love the fact that you could use Win as a nickname for Baldwin, because I love Win. The last boy's name is Burton, which is an old English name meaning fortified town. And nicknames you could use for Burton would be Bert or Tony. I like the idea of using Tony as a nickname for names that end in T-O-N, because it's a little less expected. So I like it. And also, I know a lot of people are big fans of Tim Burton. So if you like Tim Burton's movies, this would be a cool way to honor Tim Burton, or, so it's cute. I'm not personally a Tim Burton fan, but I like the name, and I thought that some of you guys might like it. Okay, so to wrap it up, I'm going to just talk about a few people I know with B names. First of all, I mentioned I have a brother named Benjamin, and Benjamin's a really, really common name, especially for his age group. He's 18, so I love the name Benjamin. And then I know somebody named Bruce, who is my dad's age, and I think Bruce is kind of a cool name, but I think it needs a while before it comes back into style. My stepmom's mother is named Bonnie, and I love the name Bonnie. I think it's super cute. I was going to put Bonita on my list with Bonnie for like a nickname, but I had so many Spanish names I didn't want to add another one. But I think Bonnie is really cute, and I can totally picture a little girl named Bonnie, and it means pretty, and it's just a great name. I love Bonnie, and I think it's ready to be used again, although I would definitely choose a longer version of a name and make it a nickname. The next one is Brittany, and I knew so many Brittany's growing up, and spelled all different ways. That's one that I felt bad because I know people are going to get it misspelled all the time. But it's a cute name, and yeah. And the next one is Beth or Bethany, and I really dislike this name. It's fairly popular in my age group too. I think I dislike it because everyone I've known named Bethany I didn't like. So the next name is Bryn. I knew two girls named Bryn when I was in elementary and high school, and I think Bryn is a really cool name, and I definitely think it's usable. It's cute, not as popular as some other B names, but very cute name. I also knew someone named B, and the person I knew was actually a guy named B, but I definitely think it's way better on a girl, and I think it's a super cute name, but I would use it for a nickname. Next one is Bernice, which I have a great aunt named Bernie, and I believe it's short for Bernice. And personally, I like Bernadette a lot better than Bernice. The last one is Berlin. My siblings have a cousin named Berlin, and she's about 10, I think, and I think it's a really cute name. She could go by Lynn, or yeah, Berlin. It's cute, like the city in Germany. So tell me what you guys think of these bee names, what your favorite bee names are, and which names you didn't like out of this video. Thanks again for watching. Bye.